Hey, what's going on YouTube? Or Storm here with another video today. Today I'm going to be profiling my Clownblade deck profile. Now, obviously this deck just became legal now that Clash Rebellion's out. If you don't know the basic combo of Clownblade, you haven't been following the OCG, the basic combo is this involves this card, Perform Mage Trick Clown. Whenever it's sent to the graveyard, it never misses timing. It can special summon one Perform Mage monster from your graveyard, and it'll become 0 attack or defense, and you'll take 1,000 damage. Now, what this does is when you take, and then Thousand Blades, when you take damage from a card effect, it special summons. So that basically is the combo. You Trick Clown's effect will burn you for burn damage, and it'll get Thousand Blades out of your graveyard. Now, unfortunately, because due to the banning of Laval Chain and the lack of Cyber Dragon Infinity, along with some of the new Utopia cards, the deck is not, as much of a powerhouse as it is in the OCG. But nevertheless, it's still pretty formidable. Certainly not, meta. And I don't think it would have been meta even with Laval Chain. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's get to deck profiles. First, you have 2 Perform Mage Trick Clown. I notice a lot of players are running 3, and you don't really need 3. It kind of sort of like with Eclipse Wyvern, you don't really need 3 copies because the card kind of pays for itself when it hits the graveyard. You don't really run a card that pays for itself, when it hits the graveyard more than, and you're never going to get to use the 3rd copy anyways, so 2 is kind of the ideal ratio. 3 copies of Damage Juggler. If you don't know what this card does, it has 2 pretty good hand trap effects. The first one is, it has one effect where it can negate any kind of card effect that would inflict burn damage. It includes your own, so if you do that, you don't want to negate your own Trick Clown for obvious reasons. The other thing you can do is sort of like a pseudo Necro Gardener. You can pitch it from hand to reduce the damage from one attack from your opponent to 0. And the third effect is you can banish it from the graveyard to add one Perform Mage monster from your deck to your hand. It's basically your searcher. It has 3 pretty good effects, and the main part is that it searches your Perform Mage engine, which is really important. Having much consistency as possible. 2 copies of Flame Eater. I know a lot of Perform Mage players don't run this card, but basically you can special summon it when a card effect would inflict damage is activated. You can special summon it from your hand, and it turns that damage into 0. It also inflicts 500 damage to both players whenever it's special summoned. Now, you might say that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but if your opponent, gets low on life and they warning, say like they're at maybe, 2300, they try to warning your Trapeze Magician, he'll trigger and you can get a Flame Eater and burn your opponent for game. It does burn you as well, but what I like about running this card, it's also one more way to trigger Thousand Blades, and it's also spellcasters. You can go to Trapeze Magician, and then for the last 3 Perform Mage monsters, 3 copies of Perform Mage Hat Tricker. This card is sort of like when there are 2 or more monsters on the field, anywhere on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Basically, it's sort of think of it like a Photon Thrasher. Basically, it gets you to your rank 4 plays quicker and from hand, and that's one of the reasons I think it's a 3 of in any Clownblade deck. Now for the warrior type monsters, 3 copies of Heroic Challenger Assault Halberd. Basically, if you know what this card does, when it inflicts battle damage, you can special summon it from hand. It's like a Cyber Dragon when you control no monsters and your opponent controls one, and it does piercing damage, and whenever it inflicts damage, you get to search a heroic monster. You can search another copy of Halberd, but you can also search the Thousand Blades, which is pretty nice. It also does piercing damage as well. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Thousand Blades. The first effect is you can discard one heroic card from your hand and special summon another heroic monster, but you're limited to summoning heroic monsters for the turn. Most of the time you will not use that effect. The only time it really comes into play is when you want to OTK someone with like a 2/4K Excalibur to face with Trapeze Magician's effect. Other than that, I found me rarely using that. You're mainly using it for the effect I mentioned previously, which is special summons when it inflicts burn damage. So it's the main reason why. 2 copies of Summoner Monk. The main reason I like Monk in this deck is it's a spellcaster, and the fact that I can just instantly go into Trapeze Magician early game, it's really nice. And it's a combo. Trapeze Magician is not to be underestimated at all. I really like the card, so it's in here. Then 2 copies of Mathematician. I don't really think you need 3, even because you really only have 4 monsters you really want to send to the graveyard. So because of that, 2-to-4 ratios is pretty good. And unless you're running like the glow up ball version that can make Trishula, then maybe, but like I'm not running that in this variant, so 2 is kind of the ideal ratio. And then for the spell cards, 3 copies of Reinforcement of the Army. I know normally I don't say I think it's not the greatest ratios having 3 to 5, but the main thing is that you can also pitch it for Summoner Monk, and that's one of the main reasons I really like it. At 3, and I want to make sure, and it's mainly there for consistency. 1 copy of Regeki, it's basically a staple at this point, doesn't really need an explanation. 1 Foolish Barrel, you have to run, I would have ran Foolish regardless of whether we had Lava Chain or not, but Foolish Burial with Chain gone, Foolish is an absolute necessity. 3 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. You can always change around the MST ratios if you don't like main decking it, but I feel that especially with Chicken Game running around, Cliff Forts still are pretty good. Meta decks really didn't get hit. Having the 3 space is pretty nice. Then now we're getting some of the draw power cards. 2 copies of Wonder Wand. If you don't know what this card does, you can equip it to a spellcaster type monster and it gains 500 attack. But that's not the really effect you care about. You said if you control this equipped card monster in this card, you can send both to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. So my favorite combos is, say I have a Trick Clown just floating there. I can tribute it off with Wonder Wand, and I can actually tribute off with Wonder Wand and trigger Trick Clown's effect again and get my whole combo started again. So it's a really nice card. Getting to draw cards is always good. In this deck, it's great. 3 copies of Upstart Goblin, because it's a combo-based deck. You want to thin out the deck. You want to get your combo pieces. I feel like Upstart is a mandatory card in Clownblade. That's just my take, but that's how I feel about it. Now for the Traps, 1 copy of Emptiness. It's still at 1. I feel that as long as it's at 1, it's pretty much a staple in virtually every deck. You're not going to see it all the time with it at 1, but it's there. 2 copies of Storming Mirror Force. Obviously, this card's a bit more expensive, but you can kind of swap between, one of my things I always tell people is you can always swap between Mirror Force and Storming Mirror Force, but it's just up to you. 3 copies of Fiendish Chain. We don't want effects resolving. We don't want monsters attacking, especially with a deck that has a lot of really small monsters. It's kind of important to prevent those monsters from attacking as well. That's why I ran this for a breakthrough skill. 2 copies of Dimensional Prison, mostly to deal with monsters that activate in the graveyard. It's not as expected as it used to be, during early Shaddoll format, but that's why it's in here. Now we're getting the extra deck. 2 copies of Trapeze Magician. I know a lot of people who play Clownblade don't run this card at 2, but I really like it at 2, in case your first one gets hit, you still have that second copy. Most of the time, if you don't know what it does, the main thing is you never take damage if the damage is less than this card's attack. So while this card is out, you can special summon Trick Clowns and Flame Eaters to your heart's content, and you won't take damage from them. It's really nice. It cuts off basically most damage you would take. So that's one of the cool things about it. And the main thing, it also has a graveyard effect that specials when it dies. It's just like the Satellar Knight monsters. No matter how it gets to the graveyard, it activates. When it gets there, it'll special summon a Perform Mage monster from your deck. It has to be destroyed by opponent's card effect. But the main part you care about is you can during your main phase, it can target any monster, an attack resistant monster on the field. That monster can attack twice, but it dies at the end of the battle phase. So the main thing this card does is that by doing that, it allows you to create a combo where you can make a 4K Excalibur and smack them twice per game. It's a really nifty combo when you can pull it off. And it's one of the reasons I really like Trapeze Magician. It's a really good card in this deck. 2 copies of Tellarknight Ptolemy. Now the reason I'm running this card at 2 is because I'm running a fair bit of rank 5s. I think a total of 5. And obviously you can kind of tweak this deck around a bit, but I really like Ptolemy because of and there's a lot of really good options to run. You can always only play 1. You don't really need to, but I kind of like having all of these rank 5s. Then 1 copy of Tyrus. I really like this card in this deck because a lot of times I'll have a board with Trapeze Magician and Ptolemy, and basically what I'll do is my opponent will Regeki while I have Trapeze Magician and Ptolemy out, so I'll rank up into Tyrus, and Tyrus won't die, and basically my opponent just went minus because my Trapeze Magician will just special summon a monster for my deck. So it's one of the reasons I really like Tyrus. I feel like if you're playing any kind of Ptolemy, deck trying to use Ptolemy, it's a necessary card. 1 copy of Pallades, probably the best monster we currently have in the TCG that Ptolemy opens up for us. Obviously, we don't have Infinity yet in the TCG, so Pallades, is probably one of the better cards. 1 copy of Artifact Durandal. Basically, the main thing, this card has 2 pretty good effects. It can negate anything and change its effect to destroy 1 spell or trap your opponent controls. That's pretty nice. And it can also shuffle all your. You can also, it's basically like a walking reload as well for both players. Basically, you can detach an XYZ, and both players will have to shuffle their entire hands back into their decks. So if you're playing something like Necros, for example, you can, when they start getting all their search combos going, you can, in the middle of their combo, you can detach Durandal and shuffle everything back. And all that searching they just did basically comes meaningless because they have a brand new hand they have to work with. So, those are the reasons I really like Durandal, personally. One copy of Wind Up Arsenal Zamaya. If you don't know what this card does, basically it detaches a material to pop 2 set cards. So the main reason you rank up into this is to clear off back row from your opponent. And just, you want to clear off back row, you want to clear off all the cards they're setting. It's pretty important for a lot of matchups. One copy of 101, like I've said in previous videos, I still like 101. It's still a pretty good card. And you don't always want to spend cards back into the deck if your opponent's going to remake them next turn. Copy of Castel, for the opposite reasons. There are certain cards you don't want to get their effects in the hands of graveyard, cards like Construct, Winda, etc. That's where Castel's pretty good. A copy of Heroic Champion Gandiva, because I do use Thousand Blades effect a fair amount. I kind of just like having Gandiva there in case my Excalibur, doesn't resolve, something happens to it, I have another option to make. It's actually a pretty decent card, basically. Think of it like a Black Horn of Heaven when a level 4 or lower monster special summon. So it's really good against, rank 4 spam decks. One copy of Heroic Champion Excalibur. Card is pretty dang good. Basically, like I said previously, you buff it up to 4k, then target it with Trapeze Magician, and you've got well over 10,000 damage on the board, which is pretty nice. Then 2 copies of Daltaros. Mostly these are to give us our 3rd material for Ptolemy. Obviously, if you're only running 1, you only need 1, but that's why there's 2 in here. And then 1 copy of Diamond, mostly for the Shadal matchup. The way you don't want to rank up into Diamond. Most of the time, you just want to make Ptolemy main phase 2 and then just stack it right on top of Diamond. So, anyway, guys, it comes to the end of the deck profile. Really hope you all appreciate it. Tune in on Tuesday, Thursdays, Fridays for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. If you like what you saw from this video, please subscribe. Storm signing out.